Welcome to FMA Talk Live. This is Datu Tim with my clutch backup man, Dean Franco. As I said before, Dean Franco. As we said before, I won the free agency draft choice. I got the Franco on my show, and there you go. So Mr. Botting, Dr. Botting, is on walkabout. He is in another part of the country, and unfortunately, with the time zone difference, he wasn't going to be able to make it. So he came on last minute, and I asked him earlier today, and he goes, "Let's do it."
I'm excited. Just the fact that I'm the backup to PG Tye. I feel like I'm coming off the bench, and this big moment of the game, and this free agency. I think this is going to be a new thing for me. I actually think I'm just going to solicit myself to basically everybody.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Hey, you want me to share this?
There we go. You heard it. What was that?
Want me to share this? The FMA discussion?
Yeah, there we go. I'll throw it out at FMA discussion. Screw you guys. You lost. All right. So not going to usually do our rant. I'm going to do a little baby rant, and then we're going to bring our guest on. And then, hey, Tuhan, Danny Terrell says hello. The first to say hello. How you doing, sir? He's still in Florida. I might be able to hook up with him while he's down there. I leave Wednesday for Florida. I'll be doing our training camp this weekend, and then I'm down there for the Maya conference the following weekend.
Gosh. You're leaving just in time, right?
Come on. I'm in Buffalo. I'm allowed.
I know, since we're getting winter now in March, as far as Connecticut goes.
Well, here's what I've noticed in general. I don't think winter is longer. I think we're seeing a seasonal shift where it starts later.
That's interesting. I never thought of that. That is interesting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Magino Guro, not Tuhan. Okay, my bad.
Magino Guro.
Okay, and then from Canada, Maria says hello.
So Maria is basically acknowledged I am part of FMA Talk. She didn't say
acknowledge the fact that you are now here.
See, she didn't say what is Dean doing here? So,
no, she didn't. She's like, of course Dean is here.
See what I mean?
And then Master Parsons says hello to the two of us. So once again, it's not a surprise to these people. They're like, okay,
hey, Rich. See?
They're just like, boom, boom. So here, I usually when Ty and I talk, he knows about something that's ticked me off, and then he's either fueling me or calming me down. Usually calming me down. But my thing here is this.
Here. I'm gonna be your therapist now. I
you're my therapist?
Multiple roles. Okay.
Okay, there we go. You're gonna help me through this.
Okay. I'm going to help you. So I'm going to say, Dr. Tim.
Yes.
What is your rant today? What I want you to get this off your chest.
Simple. You're either part of the problem or part of the solution.
Can't argue that.
Okay, something's going on. You could be part of the problem or the solution. If taking no stand making no choice is a choice. You're choosing not to do things. You see a problem that can be fixed, and you choose not to be part of it. You contribute 100%. To said problem.
I never liked that whole thing. I'm going to be Switzerland.
No. Now here's the other thing too, though. Tied with that, just because we don't agree on things doesn't mean we can't work or be friends.
Correct.
I like Italian food. Someone else might say I prefer German. Okay. So they don't have taste. That's all right. They can do whatever they want. But we all have our own taste of things and music, whatever. But when we talk about politics, religion, and martial arts, people start going crazy. Or talk to NASCAR fans about anybody in there. Why can't we just express a different opinion? And if you don't like it, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you're either part of the problem or the solution. So
and don't go to other people and try to. My further issue with what you just brought up is when you have those who are neither not being part of the solution and the part of the problem is then when they go to others to try to get them and twist them into their allegiance or what they against somebody else. That really bothers me.
I used to have someone in Buffalo that's no longer here, and actually Master Parsons can talk about it. He came in. This guy took a meeting with him, and the mindset was, this is a person that didn't get along with me, so if you didn't side with him, you were in Camp Hartman. And it could just be like, I got no skin in the game. I've got no skin in the game. And here's the thing, like I tell people, like listen, Dean, you know some of the people I don't like. Do I tell you not to talk to them?
100% no. Right.
Okay. I don't tell you, if you're dealing with this person, I'll never talk to you again either. I don't put people in those positions. I have plenty of friends that don't like each other, and that's fine. But unless it's someone that's got like baggage, like they're doing something illegal and stuff of that nature, if it's something
like
illegal,
if you're doing crimes against people, then you have to draw the line, because it's
then I say, hey, dude,
deep into ethics, and morale.
But that's it. Small baby rant. Thank you for being
my
therapist today.
Do you feel better?
I feel so much better.
See my role, man.
Now listen, Ty's a freaking doctor, and he's never taken this approach with me. Man, he better he better be watching this show eventually to see that you may have surpassed his role in the job.
My contract is coming up, so
there we go. Oh, all right. So there we go. Here we go. We got a whole bunch of posts all at the same time. So good evening, gentlemen. Okay, that's from Steve Benkel. Sachi Dean is everywhere. Yes, he is. D-Man says,
all right,
finally. I won the draft choice. That's what had happened. He's free agency.
I'm a free agent now.
How's it from Homer? Good. What? Being adults? Exactly.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Is this what I think it is? Holy cow. Whoa. I haven't had him stay on the show. Did Brian give you a black eye?
No, this was a result of yesterday working on grab and stab. And I went to go bring my shoulder over and go across his chest, and we had a collision of the heads. So
all right. So interesting. So I'm being nudged by one of my four-legged assistants over here. So I'm going to be very upfront. I know very little about this person. We chat online, talked on the phone before, had a great conversation. I like the vibe. We talked about a few things here. We had similar backgrounds in some aspects and others completely different, but there was a similar mindset in things. What I'm going to do is pull this person up. I'm going to do this from the ground up without anyone knowing what's going on or who. Oh, hold on here. Come up with a better story. One that involves midgets. He's been talking to Chad doing a little too much there. But midgets would have been a good one, but I don't know if you can politically.
Is that politically correct though today? I don't know.
Although the hotel I'm in the Philippines, it's down the road, Hobbit House, but that's another story. Okay, all right. So, all right, it's already the wheels have already gone off the train here. So
looking forward to this.
PG Errol, how you doing, sir?
What's going on, gentlemen?
So this is good. I mean, how's things in the New York area?
Well, I'm Jersey, so
same difference.
Jersey, same thing,
Jersey.
It's good. A lot of pork roll,
Okay. Here's one of your neighbors. There's Ace.
What's going on, buddy?
Ace. So we talked about a bunch of things, but I'm going to do this interview like that. This is the first time I'm ever talking to you. I want to just bring up some things. So some things are sometimes assumed, and we know what that does. So what is the system you train in, sir?
So the system, it's pretty much Ballesteros Kali FMA Fighters.
Okay.
So I'm in the, let me see, I've been training probably since like when I got here from the Philippines. Again, it was all backyard stuff, a lot of backyard stuff. Grew up, just a lot of violence around me. So growing up here in the States in the 70s here in Jersey, it was pretty rough. My father just taught me, hey, listen, this is how you fight. We didn't even call it arnis.
Okay. So obviously you are Filipino.
Yeah.
And in the 70s, not a lot of love for foreigners. Now, I'm not going to say Asians. I'm going to say foreigners. And of course, isn't Jersey all foreign at times? But that's another story. But
well, I grew up around the area. It was called Bound Brook. So in Bound Brook, there was a lot of Polish Italians. But in the section where I lived, it was the apartments where I thought it was just regular apartments, but it was actually like the project area. And it was pretty rough, you know, for someone to come here from the Philippines and only knowing Filipinos and then seeing an array of other folks, then, you know, being called derogatory names and all that stuff. You know, a lot of crying going on. And that's, hey, this is what you have to do.
So how old were you when you came over?
I came here when I was 3.
When you were 3?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So obviously at prior. Well, Dean, I'm gonna let you take over for a minute.
Sure. Yeah. So all right. So you came over at 3. I guess obviously you're getting acclimated. You're going to school and so forth and all that. I guess what was your at that early age? Were you experiencing this trials and tribulations?
As a matter of fact, you know, growing up 70s, 80s, it wasn't the best for us growing up. You know, with Asians, we always had to take a step back and just be the silent folks. But I guess during like 8th, 9th grade, late 80s, early 90s, you know, we just got together, and after a while, we just got fed up, and that's where, you know, the groups happen.
When you say groups, though,
the groups.
Was it more now?
Be a gang.
The banding together, was that mostly Filipino or other Asians as well?
It was Filipinos first, and then it became an array of African Americans, Hispanics, a lot of Filipinos, a lot of Asians. But you know, after a while, you just get fed up with everything, and we just got together, and you know, and then it gets out of hand, and training happens with, you know, my cousins and everybody else, and people who knew karate, people who knew some kind of FMA. We would actually test on each other, but it wasn't as if, you know, it was a system. It was, hey, listen,
it wasn't
this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, if you fought this way, see what happens. And there's a lot of trials and tribulations when it comes to that. You find out what's real, what's not real. And then, you know, after a while, I got into high school wrestling, and then from there, you know, just still in that life, in that gang life.
Oh, you said the word, because you know, according to Ace right here, first rule of Jersey groups is ... But since you said the gang, yeah, we get it.
Oh man, the funny thing is, Ace and I, we've known each other for the longest time, but we never knew that we were both training.
Okay, that's cool.
Until probably 15 years ago, a little over 15 years ago, and we were like, oh, you train? Oh, I know this guy. Oh, I know this guy. Do you know Ace? I go, yeah. Why? He goes, oh yeah, he does Arnis. And we bumped into each other again, and you know, we rekindled our friendship.
So a couple quick questions. I want to go back, but my four-legged assistants around here got a little verbal, because I try to put things in perspective for those who weren't around. You know, YouTube didn't happen until 2000, 2001. The internet didn't blow up. I mean, internet didn't blow up for a while. So did you have any English in your vocabulary at 3 years old, or were you learning it after you got here?
No, in the Philippines, they were actually, my family would only speak to me in Tagalog, but they would always tell me to respond back in English.
Okay.
So if anyone speaks to me in Tagalog, to me it sounds English, but my response is English right away.
Gotcha.
So if anyone spoke, I mean, they'll say, "Oh, you don't have a Filipino accent." I'm going,
"No, you're Filipino with a Jersey accent," which I think is hilarious.
And I'm like, "Am I supposed to?" You know, especially when you call Sprint. You know, like, "Oh, you're Filipino," but yeah. And then after a while, I guess I wanted to get into more training for Filipino martial arts.
Okay.
And a lot of my friends were like, "Do you think you could beat this guy? Do you think you could beat that guy?" And again, you know, my fighting was my fighting, the only thing that we really knew. And when I joined the school, they're I felt bad because they were asking me like, where did you learn that? I was like, oh shit, I think I'm going to get into a fight here. Yeah. So my wife introduced me to my old instructors, and they were like, where did you learn that? I'm like, uh-oh. And I whispered to my wife, I'm going, hey, I think we're going to get into some kind of fight. I think they're going to kick my ass here. But then I said, nah, I learned. They're like, where'd you learn that? I said, I learned it from my family. Did you ever use that before? I said, I think I am going to get kicked out. So I was just honest. I said, yeah. They're like, did it work? I said, of course. Next thing you know, they're like, so you were trained? I said, well, yeah, I was trained how to fight. They're like, no, that's Filipino martial arts, what you're doing. I'm like, okay, then that's what it is. I mean, yeah. So, being with this school for a little over 20 years, break away, you have to find your own path. You see what works, what doesn't work. And, that's what Ballesteros Kali is. I have a lot of our members who come from different martial arts, law enforcement, military, and a lot of them would always say, you know what, I'm going to throw whatever I learned away, and I'm going to just do what you do. I said, no, don't do that. I said, why would you do that? I said, you have so much experience. You guys have like 30 years experience. Why would you throw that away? I said, take what works and just add it on to our stuff. And I said, you can't go wrong with that.
So what was the other system?
I'm very hesitant to really say, but I was under the Cruzada system.
Okay. The Acosta brothers.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But there was just a lot of things that would work and what wouldn't work.
Well, I mean, was that your first FMA official?
Yeah.
And when we say official, I want to say structured learning. As we know, which, I mean, if you look at the Native Americans, a lot of times they taught fighting through games, and there's nothing wrong with that. There are a lot of different ways you can learn the process, but I would say based on what we consider structured learning, that would have been your first exposure.
Yeah, that was my first exposure, and a lot of it, there was a lot of lightning. Okay. Obviously, when I teach, a lot of it is with lightning. And I remember you and I were talking, and I was just saying, hey, listen, I did modern, and you're like, under who? And I said, and you're like, oh no, that's pretty much Gombatan. I said, yeah, all right, it is what it is. This is what I learned.
Comes from modern. I mean, modern Gombatan is a derivative of modernity. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So I mean, there was a.
So Kurt says, I really wonder how many Filipinos have experience training with their family, learning how to fight, but without name. Moreover, it takes an outside source to give FMA a name.
That's true.
Think about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, they had a bunch of people that over here.
There's a lot of people that I admire that, they started out at, the same age as I did, but with a system. And, with their system, it worked for them. But, again, I started Ballesteros Kali because it was a mindset. If anybody ever asks, oh, how big is your system? It's not that big. I don't have any secrets. I don't go by that. Oh, you can't tell Dim Branco what you just learned today. And if you do, you'll be shunned. That's not how we do it. We train people, and if it works for them, it works for them. And I guess that's the reason why I broke away, is because if you question me, if any of my students question me, like, can you explain why we do it that way? And that's how I teach it. I'll tell them, hey, listen, this is what's going to work. And I'll explain to them, have you ever seen a person get stabbed or slashed? No. I said, okay, this is what's going to happen. Do you know? And I'll always say, listen, I'm not a lawyer, but I've experienced a lot of mayhem and trouble to let them know, hey, listen, if you do this, you better be ready to suffer the consequences, because our art is very, very weapons based. And again, I'm not going to teach tactical with the guns or anything, because I don't use the guns like that. I teach what was taught to me. I teach what I experience out there and what works. And a lot of times, it's system is actually true.
Yeah, I get that up there here. Oh, actually, well, Danny says, does it really need a name?
Yeah, that's a good question, Dad. Does it?
I think so, but that's another story. And most systems in the Philippines then, or maybe some still now, don't have a school or a system name. They just say it's our family system. Yeah.
Just I want to ask, just to piggyback off what you're saying like that, as far as your students, I think it's really important. It sounds like you cover this, and you probably touched upon it when I interviewed you with Sachi, and that, like I tell my students, what's your moral compass, and what you're gonna do, you have to think if it's gonna be legally defensible. You know what I mean? And kind of that, how those two can, you know what I mean? Depending on, what is your moral compass, depending on the setting, who's with you, loved ones, of course, that's gonna change everything, right? And again, that legal defensible aspect, is what you're doing. And I kind of just share that with my students as a general guideline.
And again, I don't have such, I have a good amount of students and a good amount of following, but it's nothing like gigantic where it's.
Yeah, but you know what though? Based on what you do, I don't think you even want like.
No, I don't. It's you have to worry about it.
Only that, and then it starts to get watered down, and then you're paying it. You have to monitor somebody out all the way in.
Well, here, let me ask you this question. I know you guys are trying to find out about me, but so when you guys teach the classes, do you teach what works, or do you guys really truly follow the system that was taught to you guys?
That's a fantastic question, because I used to teach when I was really following systems, but when I kind of broke away and I kind of now recently formed my own system, it's basically what I found that comes out of just hard sparring or that quote unquote overused pressure testing, and that. But that's a fantastic question, because I was kind of in that lane of kind of, show what you're supposed to show and this and that. Yeah. So, but I kind of very, it's funny you brought that up, because this is, I'm still in transition to this, and it's recently just happened where I think, I don't know if I should go public with this, but I might be just like breaking away from everybody. I'm just like, because here's the thing, and it's not that I have anything remotely. I love my instructors. I love them for all different reasons, and I wouldn't be with them if I didn't love them and have an appreciation for them. But what I'm finding is, like you mentioned early in the show, it's time to kind of break out and go on your own.
Listen, I've had my students do the same thing, and I'm fine with it, because they still carry the name. They'll say, oh, it's Ballesteros Kali, but I have hey, that's cool, just as long as we all get together, get some food, get some drinks, and we train.
What is not that divide?
Because let me tell you, the reason why I also pulled away is because of the fact that when it's being taught and you go to other instructors and you see other instructors, so for example, I'm training, I see Datu Tim teaches a certain way. I like that. I'm training. Hey, Datu Tim, do you mind if I share that with my students? Why? Because it works. I like it. If he says yes, awesome. But then there's other teachers out there who'll say, no, you could only teach this and this alone. But here's the thing. I've seen a lot of teachers out there. I've seen a lot of instructors. I've been to so many damn seminars that they're going to teach the technique. And I've said this on FMA discussion, that they're going to teach the technique. They're going to say this works. And then when sparring session happens, the exact techniques that they were showing flies out the window. So if you're going to teach, you know what I mean? If you're going to teach something and you're adamant that this is what's going to work, but yet you're trying to explain it to the best of your knowledge and you can't pull it off, I'll walk out of that seminar. And I took about 10 of my guys out of that seminar. We walked out. If you're going to teach it and you can't pull it off, then again, I'm not saying I'm the best, but
I guess, no, and I understand what you're saying and your decision on, what you did. I guess my only question would be, and I'm not trying to defend the person. I'm just did he in the beginning? Did he make a claim that this has been proven, battle tested,
some of the instructors? Yeah, we know how it all goes. because, I was taught by so-and-so, this is what happens in the tribe and blah, blah, blah.
Tribe.
Like
Speaking of the
this.
tribe.
But no, like they'll say this is what happens. And to me, listen, I've seen so much violence. I've seen people get shot. I've heard bones breaking. I've broken bones before. So if you're going to say something to me and you can't pull it off at a seminar, I can't believe you. I mean, it's just like false advertising. And I think that's what it is with Filipino martial arts is a lot of folks are so driven into the system, and I get it, there's loyalty. I get it. But if that individual doesn't feel right or the chemistry isn't there, by all means, you don't have to be here. You shouldn't stay there because of loyalty. You should just really say, hey, listen, that does work. I like how they're teaching it. I'm going to use it. I'm going to teach it. You want to follow system, follow system. Again, I asked one of my older teachers, why do we do this move? Because it was taught by my grandmaster. And who are we to teach that? Or who are we to take it out of the system? I said, but that doesn't work. Can you show me why? And again, it wasn't I guess it was second guessing him, but I want to hear the validity of why it really works. And the answer was, it was taught to me and this is how it goes. But please, that way I could explain it to my students, because I'm going to look like a liar. Then it's going to show that my teacher is a liar. And that's kind of embarrassing.
Okay.
So,
well, here's my approach on things. So I try to teach the art as a whole. And here's the thing. Who am I to say what should be disregarded and what should be kept? Now, I guess it really boils down to what's our goal. If it's just personal protection, then I would look at what material is relevant for the scenarios that I'm teaching. So
right.
I'm with Sheepdog Combatives. Prior to budget cuts, I've gone down to the Virginia Police Academy since 2007 as an adjunct instructor with this group. What we teach them is completely different than I teach my students coming through the door.
Enforcement and then
military. So, and then I don't even talk about the logistics behind things. I've got other people in the group. I just talk about edged impact weapons. That's it. But I think the problem is a lot of people who are teaching are very uneducated. Now, if you look at the masses of people who teach Filipino martial arts as a whole, what percentage of them actually learned in a Filipino martial arts school or club? And what percentage learned in seminars? And if it's the latter, if that's the primary thing, is most of these, I mean, if you just see a seminar once or twice a year, how much are you going to retain? The other thing here, and then did you do a deep dive? If you're cross-training that means you're not doing as a primary system. So you're not taking your martial art training wheels off to really try to go all in. And I've seen this in many Filipino martial arts. We know in Filipino martial arts, there's a rich open hand element to it, but how many people actually teach that? I see mostly people teaching karate or taekwondo or kung fu, fill in the blanks, BJJ, whatever you want to call it, and then it's time to do weapons, let's do FMA. So they don't try to do it as a standalone. Now, what I look at material, there's martial art, there's martial sport, there's martial combat. Techniques fall into three categories, sometimes multiple ones: fitness, form, and function. Now, I'll do stuff that Professor Price has taught me, or my Balintawak Punong Ted, or whomever, and I'll have said that this is a drill, which means it's skill development. This is for precision. The problem is when I see all these drills and people try to say you fight with a drill, right off the bat, drills build skills. You will never fight with a drill, but the drill can be micro applications without follow-ups. You do some Rada drill. We're doing the umbrella block or the roof block. We're doing the block check counter. We're doing drop blocks without any kind of follow-ups that would, when you do a kata, if you do traditional katas, you do your move, you do the first move, you don't do the follow-up as the body falls and goes from there. So I think a lot of people misunderstand when they do a drill that it's not the same thing as working technique. It's attribute building. And I think a lot of these instructors are not educated, including some of the quote unquote masters and grandmasters that made up bullshit because they can make money off it. Because someone like Remy Praces traveled the world as a goodwill ambassador to the Philippines, and they say, oh, look, a Filipino can make money saying they're doing Filipino martial arts. And having been in the Philippines as much times as I want, there's more bullshit martial arts over there than real martial arts. And it's better to come, if you want to, fortunately, and I'm going to talk to you about another project later down the road, both of you guys, America House, but that's another thing. The United States is the best country in the world for martial artists because it is the #1 location for martial artists to move to make a living. If you go to Europe, they went for a job like a nurse. Oh, that's stereotyping with Filipinos. I can't say nurse, but they went in for a job somewhere, and they do FMA or martial arts on the side. How many countries have the quantity of martial artists that come here to make a living? But of course, a bunch of those people are making up bullshit as they go along because these things didn't exist. Because unfortunately, as we know, the occupation of the Philippines by the Spaniards, much of their culture was wiped away by an occupying nation. Okay, there's my rant. I'm sorry. There was my rant there, Dean.
You know you got one.
But I mean, it's, at the end of the day, we know the quantity of people that make up bullshit that have never done this stuff. Anshan Bakan twice killed people in stick fights, did time both times. But then you got these guys. Oh, I made the guys in the old Datu videos, the Lionheart videos or whatever it was. Oh, the head danced in the sand. Really? This guy got in 2 fights.
Did it really?
Yeah, and like, come on, you're all full of shit. This stuff.
Listen, Lola, tell me the truth.
Look at how many of those guys are dressed up like paramilitary wannabes. And listen, if that's your clientele, by all means. But I look at all this cult-like mindset. I mean, when they're all walking around with toy guns in their holsters and shit like that, I mean, come on. And even some of my friends do that. And I'm like, do you really got to do that? Please, not in front of my friends here. I'm trying to give you an opportunity. Wear something else, But I mean, there's things that it took me years to figure out applications for. But I know there's more. But I go into other systems that may have contributed to finding modern enemies to get more answers. So I will try to preserve as much of the art as, I try to preserve everything I was taught. But if it doesn't have a purpose, I will find a purpose for it. We do an up and down motion with just a hammering, and Professor you do the abanicos. I know it's here. We go. I'm doing Dean's Piper system here. No, but as you do the abanicos, he would smash down the hand because the hand doesn't go much. Yeah, there you go. See, that's why you're still second string. You're not primary guy, so I get to pick on you. But
I'm going to have to do something about my game. I'm going to have to.
I was around Topher Ricketts, and for our up and down, he had a completely different application, which helped me make more sense. When I was with Dr. Meng Ji, he's doing the angles of attack the way we do in modern. And if it comes from the right foot front, the left foot in front for follow through striking. And he asked me why I did it. I go, well, here are all the body mechanics, blah, blah, blah. He goes, well, I do. I go, you know why we do it, sir? No, please inform me. I go, it's a safety cutter strike to clear the path of the weapon. My God, that made it so much easier to describe. So I'm always a student for life. We have wristbands that we have, which we use for our belts when we're not wearing uniforms. And it says Praces Arnis on the top side. On the inside, students for life, because we're always looking for that mindset. So I do see stuff out there that I have in martial arts that I have not seen any application for. And I don't like the idea of just using what just works. Because, when you look at, like Burton, we had this conversation about Burton, who I love. He's one of my favorite JKD guys, and he's just going more about streamlining stuff. But it was all those other things he did built the attributes to make him who he is today. Yeah. So my only issue is I look at a lot of the stuff we do, like doing speed bag training, but I understand it and I can tell that to my students. I don't sit there and say this is going to work in a fight. This is bullshit. It's not going to work in the fight. We don't do pushing hands because we will push hands in the street in a fight, but the attributes that are developed from that can definitely be applied. So I walk that line. My thing is always about trying to find application.
You know, definitely drills. That's one thing we do a lot. I mean, drills upon drills upon drills. And the best thing is, and I'm going to bring this with Sachi and Alex, who's part of TSR, who's TSR Kali. So again, a lot of it, you know, we stem from with the modern Kombatan, Doblete Repelon, lightning, and for me, it always falls back down to lightning and modern. And when we got Sachi doing the seminar with us, and again with Alex also, because I was egging Alex for many years. Alexander Guerrero of TSR Kali, I kept on egging him for many years. Hey, you have to do a seminar. You have to do a seminar. And we fed off each other nicely. Like we just followed. I mean, we had a schedule, but that schedule flew out. We just followed each other, and from empty hand to blade work, it all just fell into place. Sachi did the same thing. Sachi was the newcomer in our, you know, in the seminar. So, hey, you know what? Go first. We just followed along, and it all blended down nicely. So again, you know, it all falls down into. Let me break this down real quick. So I noticed. And as Datu was saying, hey, listen, you do the drills and then you start seeing things differently. You start understanding it more. So the same thing for me. I've been doing lightning for almost 20 years. And next thing you know, oh, I see something different. I see a different flavor there. Then I start seeing them, Alex doing some modern. And I start realizing 2 different steps that he did, different movements that he was doing. And I went, you know, I trained with this guy for over 20 years. And at that seminar, I just realized something, how he moved. And I'm going, oh, see, I'm still learning. You're always going to learn. And for the guys who out there who say they're not learning, or, you know, oh, this is my system, blah, blah, blah. Don't, I tell people, stay away from that system then.
That's bullshit.
Yeah.
Stay away from that system if they say they're the grandmaster and they're never going to learn. So
listen, I tell you what, Remy Pracis. Listen, he's my teacher. Of course, I'm a fanboy. I always have that loyalty, but I think I've got this. I'm fairly well rooted when it comes to talking about him. He's always telling me he was learning from us all the time, because sometimes what he learned was a better way to describe something because something wasn't working. Sometimes we may have misinterpreted what he wanted, and it actually sparked something. So let's get caught. By the way, Errol, it's Tim. Dean, it's Datu.
Datu Tim Francos.
See?
You know, we have to put an S at the end of that, right? Dean
Francos. All right. So for individual learning, it doesn't need to be named. However, for preservation, now that's it. If we're talking about preservation, it's important. If we're and that's why I asked you, or I made the comment, if this is just about personal protection, we don't care if it continues on to another generation. But if we're having something that we want to continue on, and actually, I think if it does work for personal protection, then I would like to see another generation, because if it worked, I think the problem is with traditional martial arts, people said it worked for my teacher, but enough generations down the road, times have changed. And we have to change with it, you know. And that doesn't mean that the formula doesn't work. We just have to adapt the formula to the new values.
Well, yeah, so, as in fighting nowadays, back in the day, it was always about, hey, listen, 80s, it was Kung Fu. Yeah. Kung Fu. Then
Kung Fu fighting.
Then Ninjutsu. And we saw all the progression. And nowadays, people will always ask, who's a better fighter, Bruce Lee or Jet Li or whom? I'm going, hey, listen. It's always going to evolve.
Yeah.
Do you remember in the early 2000s when they used to say, "Oh, anti-grappling"? I couldn't stand that. I could not stand that.
That came from Chuck Liddell. The whole Chuck Liddell.
Oh, that bothered the crap out of me.
Okay. So here we go. So from Canada, Hiltz is popping in late. Matt Jones says hello. He's from Connecticut, if I'm not mistaken. Danny.
Matt Jones from Connecticut?
On what?
Matt Jones from Connecticut?
Yeah, it's from Violante's club. Oh, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
It depends on what the individual wants to learn, or is it just fight or learn an art of the system? Exactly. Hey, Frank from Connecticut again.
Frank
There we
Terrell.
go. Another Connecticutian, whatever.
Yeah.
Dan, we love Danny Terrell here. There are things I've taught system-wise that I don't use, but I will say so. I've seen it work by others, or it may not work for someone else. And that's the other thing too is I have things that I do and say, listen, I can't pull this off. I don't have the skill set. I've seen it pulled off, and now you got to figure out if it's worth your time and effort to put into it. I mean, I remember when Heel Choi came in, they talked about him on the UFC, and he used to do a hop spin back kick and split open a canvas heavy bag because it would bend so much. And they said, well, what if the Gracies asked you to, when they were challenging everybody, I go, I do hop spin back kick. And he would have done it. And he could have done it because, well, we know the UFC was an infomercial for Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, well planned, well executed. But the thing here is, it may have worked for him because of what he did, but it may not be practical for us. So let me see here. Kurt, you have to be able to ask questions and hold accountability for all. And that's the other thing too is I say stuff and I'm constantly questioned about stuff that I don't want to say I make claims. I make statements. And then when other people make their statements and I ask for validation and stuff, it's all cry foul. If I say I can pull something off or this will work, if I'm not willing to prove that it's going to, then, why should I, I mean, people should be calling bullshit. I mean, and also like Remy would do the 1, 2, 3 slap, grab, hit. And we still do that, but I've changed the application because now back then people would do the full committed punches and they don't box like they do now. It's like, all right, well, let me see here. If a jab is 2 counts, it goes out and back. And if I'm going to go slap, grab, hit, there's 3 counts. So if we're equal speed, that grab, that my hit I won't be able to grab because I slap as they punch. I try to grab as the hand retracts. So where will that technique be valid if it doesn't work on that? Oh, what attack stays out there? A grab or a choke. Now someone tries to grab me, I have that opportunity. And being Buffalo, a hockey town, we're always about pulling the jerseys over their head and hitting them in the face. So, but that's just me. Let me see. Boom. Here we go. How deep did you train it? Yep. Okay. Don't throw out what you got there. Don't be a slave to it. Exactly. Danny's just like on a roll here.
Mr. Terrell.
There's always a different perspective to gain. Yep. And the thing here too is, even when we talked about this, you didn't say throw shit out. You want to make sure that people that it gets it. You want to give stuff its try and stuff like that.
What works for one person may not work.
Yeah.
Again,
and then May De Leon from the Philippines says hello. And then this guy Errol says hello.
He says
that rat.
That rat bastard. Allegedly, someone called you a black sheep earlier. So
I am the black sheep.
That's Sachi. Sachi's Dean is pulling overtime. No, Brian. He's not pulling overtime.
Brian, you've been asleep at the wheel. I'm an official free agency, and I'm testing the waters.
And I jumped it out. I got him first, like last week's show. Boom. It's like going to the combine for the NFL, but different. Boom. Skillful violence versus historical and cultural arts. Never-ending debate. Here's a good thing too. There's material out there. So there's that one knife disarm where the guy puts it up, the kid puts it to the person's neck and he clamps down. He does the disarm going underneath. You say, all right, that's bullshit. Is it? Now, here we go. Everyone's like, what, are you on drugs? No, not today. But if you think if that may have come from feudal Japan, what would the samurai have been wearing? Full armor, face shields, protective gear. If a knife is there, you can clamp down with that facial guard.
Protective gear.
There are in some forms of jiu-jitsu, there are armored throws as well as armored recoveries. Now, when firearms came into play, that became irrelevant. But now that people have body armor that works, that may become relevant once again. So that is the risk we run when we throw stuff out. But I understand, and I agree 100%, not everything has today's application. But there could be a future application. So it's kind of something we want to keep it in the wheelhouse and say, all right, I actually have a category of when our training go, here's some of our historical material. I don't want to throw it out, but it's something that professor would do. It may have been some one-offs. He may have found out that it just didn't work for everyone. It was just something that he was good at doing. Because there's that also too. It's like, hey, there's Hartmanisms that I will not teach my students. I can pull something off that my students can't. Why? Because it's just something I do, whatever. And I've seen that with a bunch of people. Like, yeah, well, what's that? I can't teach my students. Oh, it just doesn't work for them. It's a me thing. Okay, I gotcha. So Sachi, agree with lightning, for an example. We do serrata with sticks or espadiadaga. Did I wait a minute for lightning? Does he do lightning and serrata, or is he saying lightning?
No, lightning is it's we start off with the serrata. So
okay, all right. I was thinking serrata screamer. Okay, my bad.
Serrata espadiadaga.
Okay. We never tried knife dueling or currently add knife to work in serrata based concept. It still works. The highest was the transferable few adjustments, like more compact movements. Okay.
I mean, Sachi and I, we had that discussion before, like you said, we would teach certain individuals in certain groups a certain way.
Yeah.
If it's our public class I'm going to throw it out there, Infinity Martial Arts in Old Bridge, New Jersey. So with the students there, we have to teach them a certain way, sticks. We're going to teach them stick fighting, stick drills. And then for certain individuals who are more advanced in Kali, then obviously we're going to teach them more stuff. Military, with that certain group, we'll teach them a certain way. Law enforcement, and with law enforcement, when you sit down, they're going to tell you, oh, you can't hit them here, you can't hit them here. This right here is the green light. This right here.
They're going to give you the whole.
Yeah, so we would always have to teach them a certain way, and a lot of the instructors, who's teaching Filipino martial arts on the Facebook world, they're always going to say, this is what we teach our law enforcement. And I could tell right away when some of them, when they're saying that, this is my law enforcement. Not really, because what you're teaching your law enforcement, they can't actually use it.
They can't actually do that.
They can't use it in the field. So
I have seen FMA guys get into things and show, and even their own students saying, you got to stop teaching that. Oh, I show it for attributes. Stop that. Don't even do that.
They show for social media hits is what they do.
Well, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I in my early times, I would post a lot of videos, and that's how I started becoming known. But then I started realizing the responsibility that comes with it. So that's the reason why I actually,
so now it's on fans only?
Yeah, my only fans. Like that. Let me, right there. Look, my soy sauce shirt.
All right. So evolve, innovate, test, and repeat. Very good. Okay, here we go. And of course, he's playing free agency card. All right, now
you better believe it. I'm going to milk this until the cows come home.
We got
We got Alex on.
Okay, here we go. Alex, you're taking up my screen here. All right. I think a lot of my favorite moments teaching is when I try to show a student a technique that may have worked for me, but for whatever reason, it doesn't work. Now, be the person I demonstrated on a bit taller, stronger, or whatever. So I invite the class to help me figure out what can work. Oh, there we go. That's cool. My students know I don't know everything, and I'm not above asking my students for what they think that might work as well. That's cool. A lot of them know things that I don't, and I've welcomed learning from them. Oh, that's cool. That's really cool. And then, of course, Eric says hello. Eric O'Brien.
Eric O'Brien. Yeah.
Do we know where Eric's from?
Eric is my student in Florida. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. And then Alexander again. The reason I enjoy teaching with Errol is so much to this day is because we are always questioning what works or trying to figure out what works or what to figure works. My dyslexia is kicking ass today. Be it always involves Scotch these days, but another level of training. Yeah, that's a different level of training. There we go. Boom, Danny. And there's legality, use of technique. Yeah.
And I'll always say when I teach, disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. I'll always say
check, is it legally defensible where you live?
Well, and that's the thing here is like when we do Filipino martial arts and here's it always, and Ace has been part of these rants too. And we did 3-part shows on Dean's thing. If we're going to do a martial art program and we want people to train with us, we need to be self-sufficient, which means we need to have all aspects. And if the aspect is only to kill, then how useful is that in the society is going to be? And do we become a menace? Remember, there was that New York City bouncer incident decades ago where a person changed all blade all the time, not the shirt that Dean's wearing, but a different group. And I think he might be out of prison by now.
He is out.
Yeah. And what had happened is one of my guys actually knew him. And he's like, what happened? I was drunk and I did what I was trained. And he, and the thing here is
seminar with him.
Not every situation merits a lethal response. And when you put a weapon in the eyes of the law, that's going to probably fall in the category of lethal use of force. Because even if I take my knife out and I use this as an impact tool, anyone who's armed with a firearm, I pretty much give them the green light to shoot me, because they don't know the intent I have. All they see is a blade or something coming out, and they don't really have to second guess my intent. If there's a legitimate perception that their life is in danger, they could use lethal force to protect themselves. But check all the details of that specifically, because I don't want people to say, hey, you said this,
Well, yeah, that's why I was saying.
But why can't we? I don't carry a knife because I do Filipino martial arts. I've carried a knife ever since I was 10 years old, because my dad had 100 acres of property. All right. We had farms. I did all the crazy farm stuff except cow tipping. That wasn't a thing when I was a kid. And no, I didn't date any of my cousins, although a couple of them are kind of cute, and I wouldn't mind going down that path. But my family tree resembles a tree. It is not
PG to
but at the end of the day, we can't. I mean, it's cool to do all this stuff, but some of the arts out there, we got to remember, if you're training to kill people, that's still training to kill people. So we got to make sure that we are a force of good for the community, not a force of evil. It sounds like a comic book thing now. Here we go. All right, here we go. Ace. A distinction between that can be made is classical versus traditional versus modern training applications. Aware of the origins, but realize why and when. Drills versus concepts. We all need more education. Right there we go. Right there. We all need to get more education for our students of the art. And part of that education is understanding how to teach. Understanding, and if you don't know something, ask. And if they, like you said, if you go to the instructor, they're teaching you something. If they don't know, then they should. Now, I was coming up the art while Professor was alive. And when I did things that I didn't necessarily know the application for. So, and if people ask me, what's this for? I go, it's a requirement on the test. We're going to do it. It's actually on my list to talk to Professor next time I see him, because I had a list of my checklist of why do we do this? What's this for? Blah, blah, blah. Some of the stuff I figured out on my own. So, and I would validate when I would be around him. But, there's a lot of things, Professor, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And sometimes people make connections, and like I saw Professor do, we call it obstruction removal, where you slap, grab, hit, and they block it. You slap off and you hit them again. You remove the obstruction. Well, he did it against the hand. He did it against the stick. Then someone came out with a barong and did it again, and he pulled it off. But the thing was, he relinquished control of that edged weapon to hit the person in the face. And I'm like, I understood that he was trying to show how it all works, but from a self-defense situation, I know that he would never have let that blade go or that arm that controlled the blade, because why would you control it and then let it go? And I think a lot of people don't always look at that. They see their teachers doing something and it's a monkey see. We learn by rote. That's the good thing I liked about the Filipino martial arts. I always felt we were more encouraged to ask questions than some of the other martial arts out there. Although I do see some of this do what I tell you stuff. And to me, the first thing in my mind is you don't know what you're doing. But that's my knee-jerk reaction. And sometimes when I'm teaching a seminar, I say, listen, do it this way. I'll answer questions later. Because I've got a progression. And, sometimes it just, you don't want to talk so much. Okay, Lightning Scientific's main method is a Panay Island Serrata system, different than karate. Okay, gotcha, got it. And then as a 5'3" Phil, I didn't even think you were that tall. No, as a 5'3" Filipino. They put him in the water.
You're 5'2.5", brother.
Yeah, there we go. They put him in the dryer too long and he shrunk him. No, but I had things were to as now I'm in my 50s. I have things to change. Okay, that's cool. So I gotta stop. I like Ace. I like messing with Ace. Kurt, accountability for teaching skillful violence. Define falls under what is your why? Okay. Oh, okay. Now we've got a stalker. Ace or Errol, have you seen our shows a lot?
Is he here?
Fart in the Wind has appeared. And he was moldy cheese at a moment at one time. He's gone back and forth. So did you miss me? Yes, because one of my kids missed the toilet. I feel hard than Nancy. Okay.
Oh my God.
It's not going to stop. You know the other person we're missing right now, and I'm going to talk about it. Renee Kokolo, the Canadian dog.
Renee, yeah.
We're missing him. Okay. Stand your ground laws. Yes. You have to understand whether you're in one of those states that have that and stuff. Boom. I carry a knife and a fork. Obviously not a true Filipino martial arts because it shouldn't be a spoon.
Spoon and a fork.
Spoon and a fork, baby. Because it'll hurt more, but that's a Robin Hood thing. Reasonable fear of death or great bodily harm.
Yeah. Did you feel your life was in danger?
Yeah. And then here we go. To PG Errol's point, his understanding of growing up in violent culture always allowed him to connect his teaching to a violent art. This is as much a mindset and maybe why some can pull off what they can and others can't.
It's a fantastic point on the mindset.
Okay. Oh, I knew he was there. Yeah. There's Renee.
I'm just here listening.
Okay, so Renee, you didn't say hello, guys, and Tim. And this was a point. I had a debate with Rubio. Well, I was on a show. It wasn't a debate. We talked about old school fighters and new school fighters. Yeah. And one of the things I would talk to people, I could develop these new school fighters would kick their ass. I'm like, and we talked about all these different things. But the new school fighters are still playing a game. The old school fighters, we're talking about the Filipino masters. This was a way of life, and it's a whole different animal. I mean, listen, Errol, hearing about your background, and I know a bunch of top trained fighters. I'd probably pick you before these top trained fighters because you know what happens in the street. And when I roll with people, like I'll do some jiu-jitsu every now and then and this, that, and the other thing. And when we start doing throws, they're like, well, that's the wrong thing to do. Well, what do you mean? Well, you should do this, that, and the other thing. I'm like, I'm bouncing some guy's head off of concrete. I'm not doing it on a tatami mat. So I don't give a shit what you're doing. I'm doing it from a different purpose. And a lot of people fight in the ring and they don't know how to fight in the street.
Exactly. Well,
survive in the street.
Here's the thing. We joke around with the title Black Sheep, and with my group. We're like, oh, Errol's the black sheep. Errol's the black sheep. Yeah, that's cool. I'm cool with that. But here's my knowledge of what happens out there is, I'm going to hear it a lot from a lot of the FMA practitioners for how many, you guys have been doing it for how many years. And I'm always going to hear, well, it's about the tradition. It's about the history. Well, first off, I'm Filipino. I know my history. I know what FMA culture is. And I'm not going to disagree with you. But what is Ballesteros Kali? Other folks I'm reading on here, well, you could teach the tradition. You could teach the art of fight. I'm going to be honest with you. Listen, I teach what I know, plain and simple. I'm going to teach. Yeah, this is who I am. If you want to come to my class, come to my class. If you don't, you don't. If you don't like the way I'm teaching. But when I tell people, and I have some students before question me on, I said, so what, you don't believe me? And I said, if you don't believe me, you don't believe me. I'm not going to make you believe me. They're like, no, I just wonder. I said, listen, I hear it from my lolos. I hear it from, my old uncles who are telling me about their fights. I know real fighters. I know real gangsters. And I know people who lie about their fighting. So when someone tells me, I had talks with other people from AK. I spoke to some of the Tuhans. We rolled in the same groups growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And we, one time they would ask, hey, do you remember that time in Queens? You guys were getting into some kind of big fight. So-and-so called us. We were there to back you up, and I'm like this. Oh, I remember that time. And I said, you guys were standing over in the corner. Yeah. We had those conversations and it was cool because we all grew up in the same area. So for folks to say to me, oh, I can't, I'll be honest. People don't like me. I'm big whoop, but I'm going to tell you the truth. If your system is good, your system is good. But if your system sucks, your system sucks. But don't tell me how I should be teaching my guys. And, in Filipino martial arts, in this world, in the martial arts world, I know true badass people. So, we capture a lot of these guys, especially in the Filipino community, in the Filipino martial arts community, because of the fact that we train knives. How cool it is. It's cool. Hey, look, we got weapons. It's cool. We beat the crap out of each other with sticks. That's cool. But here's the thing. A lot of times you don't have to try to be such a badass or, make pretend you're a badass. If you believe in your system, do it. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but don't tell me. And I tell my guys all the time, if someone's trying to correct you, be humble. Just listen. Yeah. Again, I don't play like I'm Yoda or some kind of Bushido guy because I'm not. I'm teaching what was taught to me. And as I said, my teachers from back in the day, when I asked, hey, why are we doing this? Because it was taught to me. But why are we doing it? Because I see that, for example, a candlestick block. I've broken my fingers numerous times trying to perfect it. Look at that finger. It's crooked. So to me, that candlestick block like this, I had to find a way to do that. And I said, oh, if I did a shot like this, but reinforced it right there to teach it, that way when it ricochets back, I could do. Way it was taught to me, I'm going to put my hand. I've done that so many times. Even in sparring, I would say, yo, hit me as hard as you can. I want to try to block it. If I can't pull it off, no matter how many years I've been doing this, I'm not going to teach it to my guys because I find it is if someone's teaching some kind of tack work and they're pulling it off, excuse me, and their team is pulling it off, teach it. But again, if you're going to teach me some blade work where you're going to say a stick is a stick and we're going to move like this, no, come on now. Just like Bram Frank, when he was telling about the bolo and I was watching, I was going, exactly. You feed the blade a certain way and you feed a stick a certain way, so that's the way I do it.
Okay, so here we go. Farlight, we're going to get caught up on some comments here. If people realize how they messed up, they could get from a scalpel or an X-Acto blade. They would have a hand in like, okay, here we go. 99% of the world could not defend themselves, yet 98.5 will never do anything to prevent that. Masters, alphas, master betas. We're waiting for Renee to drop some of that Canadian wisdom on us. Proto and Sam did not fight in a ring, but they fought over a ring. My precious. Okay. All right. He does have some good days. Unfortunately, sometimes my dyslexia kicks in a little more than others.
He corrects me.
Thus, what is your why? And that's it, really. Are you doing martial art? Are you doing martial sport? Are you doing martial combat? I don't care what the hell you're doing, as long as everyone around you knows what it is. If I'm teaching martial sport, if I'm teaching martial art and I'm selling it as self-defense without working any of those applications, there's the issue. And like I said, I've been doing Balintawak since 2000, so 23 years now. I love my Balintawak, but it's geared for stick dueling against a trained opponent. And the fundamentals in there, if you talk about which is almost like that, Remy may have gotten the block check counter from Balintawak. What I would learn day one of my Balintawak was the stuff that worked on the street, and the rest of it was all about attribute building for me, because there was no way in hell I was going to get to do any of these techniques because you needed a trained fighter to pull it off. Okay, but I digress. Okay, what is Fart Like a Wind? I teach cake making with a hint of fighting. All right. Masta Batas. Okay, that's from Brian. But he's got more. Fart Like a Wind's got a lot more. I fought with, this is probably going to be bad. I fought with Queens. They were mad when I was the champion, and that I rocked them with their mud on their face, acting like a big disgrace kickboxing, but all over the place. Okay, all right, there we go. Yeah, I was thinking about different Queens, but that was just as good. He did the Chevy by the levee the other day too. So
that was funny.
Yeah, Brian Rodriguez, I see you. Is that a name of your gang? I don't know what that. Oh, the Mastabaras, that one right there. And then Cruz Badas. Okay, all right, here we go. Following the finger looks like the candle burnt out long ago, but the legend never dies. See the stuff I got to put up with, Errol. All right. I think the finger.
Good show so far.
Yeah, there we go. Boom, Brian. Brian Rodriguez for live. Okay, here we go. Kara. Okay, this is someone from New Hampshire. Okay, New Hampshire, right? Wondering if Dean took a black eye over to take over Ty. Oh, he told a story which wasn't good enough.
Apparently not.
Having midgets in there. It could have been that he fought Ty for the spot.
One will never know.
Yeah. He says it was a knife defense training accident.
Why didn't you just say that's your Tuhan level instructor?
Yeah.
There you go. Dean, if you're getting beatings at home, put your hands on
Renee, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that.
Blink your eyes twice if you're in trouble.
Yes.
Go on. Blink.
Renee, I'll be Facebook messaging you.
All right. But many don't realize the difference between art, combat sport, and reality. And that's, and I remember having a discussion with some people, and they made some comments about that. Like, well, some of these kickboxers are really good. And no doubt, there's nothing wrong with a cross in a street encounter. A jab, cross, hook up. There's nothing wrong with that. But they don't understand how to deal with a broken bottle, a 2x4, stuff of that nature. And when I think of the self-defense scenarios, a third of all attacks are weaponized.
Well, did you know that obviously martial arts is a big ego for everybody. So I remember conducting a seminar where I used to teach. It was they're closed now. It was Legacy Life. So I was teaching over there. I had at least like 30, 40 participants from different groups of martial arts. And they were all good. They were very good at what they did. But I think I stepped on a lot of egos. And I said, hey, listen, I'm here for a mindset. I'm teaching you what, what I know. And towards the end of the seminar, I took 4 people versus one for a mass attack. So we did that. And a lot of the high ranked people who are there, again, they're good at what they do. But once you put a weapon in their hand or attack them with a weapon, they freeze. So a lot of these guys who were being attacked dropped their weapons. And what happened? They actually balled up and just start going like this. And I told them, hey, listen, you have to ask yourself now, why are you taking a martial art? Like you asked, why are you taking this martial art? There's nothing wrong with karate. There's nothing wrong with judo. There's nothing wrong with what you guys are doing, but it's a mindset. What are you training for? And so at the end of it all, I saw a lot of their head instructors give me a sour look. So moving forward, 3 months later, we're doing a follow-up. A lot of those guys never showed up again. So the owner of the school said to me, you actually hurt a lot of their feelings and their butt hurt. I said, listen, I wasn't here. And I told him straight up, I'm not here to tell you that your art sucks. I'm here to tell you it's a mindset. What are you truly training for? You have to ask yourself that, because if you're just training for meditation, if you're training for strictly mat work, you have to know how to flip it. You have to know how to do mat work, flip it to street work, just know how to flip it. So again, there's a lot of ego. There's a lot of ego, and they get stepped on, and you know what? It's your mindset. Like, I've seen a lot of Krav guys really good at what they do. And I went to another school and I was watching one of the Krav guys, and they were teaching knife defense. Well, they were teaching the knife defense and everything. Well, guess what? He goes, and I hold the arm back here, but he had the wrist, it was loose. So at the end of the class, he asked me, he goes, tell me what I need to work on. I said, wrist control. And he was just like, why? I said, do that same technique to me. Did the same technique to me. And all I did was tap, tap, tap. I said, you feel that? He said, yeah. I said, listen, you're a bigger guy than me. You're a stronger guy than me. If you hit me, I'm down. But listen, with this blade, if you don't control it, my little ass is going to kill you. So again, there was another person whose ego got hurt.
At least he asked you, though.
He did, but you know, like a few weeks later, we started talking, and he even told me, "Yeah, I was kind of pissed at you." I said, "But you asked me."
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like,
you can't be upset when you ask an opinion.
I said, "I'm not going to tell you. I'm just, you asked me, I'm going to tell you."
Yeah. I think part of the thing these days is there are schools out there that don't do sparring anymore, because and this is not a bad thing, as once again, as long as people understand, some schools are more about character development and gross motor skills. It is an activity for people to do. It's like, like doing Taibo or something. It's not meant to be. And I'm okay with all of that as long as all the participants knows what's going on. If you're coming to me for self-defense and I'm giving you character development and physical exercise, for me, martial arts, the tip of the spear is combatives, but there's a lot more to martial arts than just combatives. But unfortunately, a lot of schools have gone down that path. Like I said, I know schools that have gotten rid of sparring because they lose students during it. So Brian's taken off, evidently. Then Renee, thank you so much. Goes everyone. There we go. Fart like a window. How does he wear gloves with a pinky like that? Talk about the stinky pinky. I don't.
Let me tell you something about that. It's my other left hand.
It's your other left hand. There we go. All right. And then Kara's from Massachusetts, missed the beginning. Fart like a wind. Dean, next time you get to mess up dinner, your wife. Oh,
I'm
not
really,
ask twice. Yeah, well, it could have been worse. If you would have asked her a second time, you'd have a matching one.
I'm definitely taking that advice.
Okay. Eric, Guru Dean's eyes showing the pressure testing.
Yeah.
Ram's horn. Then Dean there. Okay, Dean's making his comment there. Kara, okay. Hey, I saw last night too. A little darker now. Hope you are okay. And Kara, okay, that's you responding to Kara. Same when suddenly there are multiple tacklers versus one-on-one. Yep. Okay. Fart like a wind sounds like a karaoke. They think they can sing and they get to the mic and the stage. It's showtime. Very good. All right, Renee. At my seminars, I tell people we are going to do mass attacks, so they get freaked out, especially when I start taking my clothes off. Okay.
I would like to attend that seminar. I would like to.
I'm gonna pay extra so I don't have to attend.
You know what? Seminar. I know how you got that black eye. You got the PP Sinkiti there. That's why.
What's that?
I said you got the black eye from a PP Sinkiti.
Yeah.
COVID helps some schools use a reason why they don't have to do contact. Well, actually,
I wonder about this.
I mean, this is actually, you know what? That's a very interesting. See, I think, and remember we were talking about some political stuff recently there, Dean?
Yeah.
I think a lot of the stuff now is because and we've regressed as people ever since COVID hit. I mean, it's crazy on how much we've degenerated when I'm out in public, because people were hiding behind masks for over a year. They did social distancing. There was no consequences. You did all these Zoom meetings and stuff like that, and Zoom seminars, which really, even though I do hybrid, I don't like doing Zoom strictly because I need people to see to work out, and I need people to see me throw people around. I mean, I need to see that connection. But I think because of that disconnect, our society has really gone sideways because of that.
I think it's going to take, just for the socialization or lack thereof.
Oh my God.
I
feel bad for these kids.
Take a year or so, you know what I mean? Yeah, people get reacclimated, if you will. You know,
I think it's going to take 5-10 years to get us back on point.
You think that long?
People are dumb.
Back to classes.
Yeah, man. In the trap, once one can't punch very hard, but they can still poke, slice with a blade easily. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Then I teach combat cake making. I figured that. I knew that was it. I thought I saw you on Cake Bosses. Ace. They just made a decision. They figured either way it didn't want their students again, or was happy with where they were ranked. Better to be honest than not to be there. Collective vision and individual growth. Okay. Oh, Sifu Mike. Awesome channel. Thank you. Just found a couple weeks ago. I'm going to definitely keep watching. I don't hear many people speak about attributes lately. Take care, guys. By the way, we're not going to be here next week. I'm going to be in Florida, and I do not give Ty the keys to the car. All right. Ace, I brought my daughter to PG Errol at Legacy because I respect him. Okay. Well, there's
brother.
Seminar theme. Okay. One guy, 2 sticks. Okay. All right. Ace. Okay. Far Lake Wind. 5:00, 9 p.m. in Michigan. 6 places are closed. Eat dinner inside. Okay. Not bringing Coney Burger back to my dojo. It's 9-5 places, 10 miles. Had to drive, find one place open. Okay, all right. The number one thing about Zoom is the amount of people instructors have been able to reach. Yes, otherwise, so when I do my sessions, sure. I do a hybrid. So I actually have a physical class going on, but some of these people that are teaching now, they're the only person in front of the camera. I just think that's we don't need an excuse for that anymore, because people should be able to get a partner to demonstrate the material on. When we did that joint seminar, Dean, you had somebody with you to demonstrate your portion.
Yeah, I've only did one, and unfortunately, I just couldn't get a person. I think it was actually with the one with Tuan Jack. But every other one I've had a partner. Yeah, I totally agree with you. Just to, and not, I mean, obviously somebody to demo on the energy. I mean, yeah, all the above.
Well, and like I said, like PG Craig, he's gone to a bunch, and he goes, there's a bunch of top tier instructors I no longer want to watch, because all I see is them doing. They're in front of the camera doing forms, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I don't really enjoy it myself. I kind of find, and I think it's nothing against obviously the teachers or the instructors. Obviously, it's just that I like seeing it done. It helps me learn a bit when I'm actually seeing it done against somebody else. I need that visualization.
I do have some. I mean, like, I can separate the professional critique versus the personal critique. Some of these people are my friends, but it really, I think they're doing us a disservice. It annoys the hell out of me when now there's no excuse for not having a partner.
Yeah, now that we're kind of hopefully
and it's like, come on, it's like you doing forms and calisthenics in front of us. Like, do we really need that shit? But okay,
hey, I got a question for PG Errol. Errol, why don't you? So hopefully, I mean, this is going to happen, because I'm really looking forward to meeting you in person. And matter of fact, I have a couple things I want to run by you, as far as knife stuff and all that. I can't stand that 2-on-1. Hate that 2-on-1. But what we got coming down? Me, you, Sachi.
Yeah, we're gonna have a group. Me, you, Sachi, Alex, and Wilton. Wilton Valerio, he's a TSR colleague. He's with Alex. So I mean, whenever we get together, it's a good seminar. I mean, 3.5 hours. It feels like it's only an hour. I mean, Ace has been to a seminar, so he had fun. So, but again, yeah. So after we do that, we barbecue, we get drinks, we eat, whatever, exchange. Sometimes sparring goes on. Unfortunately, I can't spar because my shoulder is jacked up, but I'll do it. I got my left hand, so we'll see what we can do.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's gonna be really neat. Yeah, I hope we can get a date where it obviously mutually works for all of us.
Yeah, we're trying to get away from the summertime, but obviously it's falling. It looks like it's falling that way. But it'll be fun because we'll have
Dean, you're having your event this weekend, right? Rich Parson teaching on it, my dog. Yes. I believe, Adam, I'm going on 12 to 12:50, and I think it's a charitable event.
That's not you, isn't that John McClane?
Yeah, but I think Rich Parsons is part of it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's part of our sheepdog combatives. John. Well, he's an ex-operator, so he uses the name John McClane because it works out well. Yeah, that's okay. So that's okay. I didn't know if that was this weekend or not.
I come towards the end, Sachi, when the drinking starts.
Yeah, there we go. And then there's do you have a specific spot you're in Jersey or?
Yeah, I actually teach at my buddy's gym, Infinity Martial Arts.
Infinity Martial Arts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean,
how many days are you there?
Say that again.
How many days a week are you there?
I'm only there once. I used to be there 3 times, but the new job, and then
gotcha.
After COVID and everying changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, they're back in full force. Their school is popping, but it's now, I started a new job. I'm always in the 5 boroughs.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do, right?
So, I wish.
Right,
yeah.
I hate the Zoom 2 years of hell teaching on it. Yep. Actually, I tell you what I really do is I like the hybrid seminar. So what I'll do is I have a physical seminar going on in my school, and I'll have virtual attendees, and they also get to watch people pull reps, and they see me do corrections and stuff like that. And I make sure everyone gets a digital copy. That I'm okay with because there is something physical going on. And even like when Dean did the show, then we were doing the double header, and people got to see us work out while Dean was making corrections, which worked out really well.
I was actually during COVID, I was teaching outside. We had a park. It was freezing, but you know what? It actually made things a little bit more different when you're training outside with all that gear. It's freezing. How long can you hold that stick?
Well, you didn't have to deal with Emperor Cuomo.
Oh, jeez.
That was a rough couple of years there. Okay, Danny. I try to have a partner, but sometimes traveling doesn't. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, that's legit.
Morney does the same thing when he's out of town.
But generally, Coach Danny always has a partner there. If you're traveling, logistics. You know what I mean? Constant craving for partners. Yep. Yes.
And Sachi, I'll come towards the end when the drinking starts. LOL. Okay, here we go. The best part of Jersey is when the U-Haul. Wait, the best part of Jersey is when the U-Haul. Okay. Truck. Oh, truck. It's the now Levi Valley, New Jersey.
Come on now.
All right. I didn't get that because it must have been thing area.
Thank you for
showcasing. No problem at all. And then thanks. Okay, that's you. And then Fart Like Wind or
reach out to.
Okay, all right.
Guro Ace, if you're still present, I need to touch base with you, please.
Okay. So, do you have any? You're talking about you guys are doing something. Do you have any events coming up shortly that you're going to be part of?
No.
Okay. All right.
We were actually trying to put it together for April, May, and it kept on getting pushed. So we're talking about a big group putting something together, and everyone's schedule is a little bit different. So I'm trying to get you down here, and I'm still doing construction in my house. So
Oh, me?
Yeah, you. Yeah, you, mister.
Hey, I'm always willing. Even though if it isn't Jersey. Actually, I like Jersey. I used to go to quite a bit. For times, I used to go up to Lodi to Ray Gallant's event. A few other places here and there.
That's right, Lodi.
Yeah. Okay, I'm looking. I'm trying to do my job, which I don't always do.
Because Dean took over, so you know.
Yeah, that
I'm
bastard.
telling you, this could be where Dean runs FMA discussion from the back scenes, but he's running FMA talk in the front scene. I mean, who knows where this can go? You know what I mean?
So,
Do you have a website there? I'm going to ignore him, Errol. Do you have a website?
Nah, I used to, but you know what? I just really chilled out on that. So
all right. So listen, is that Facebook group still good?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna put it here. If you guys want to get a hold of him, suck it up and get on Facebook. He's also on Instagram. But here's the link on Facebook right there. You know, and I'm gonna go put the IG link up there because I know how to do this. I know technology a little. And it's awesome when it works. That's just the other times. Oh, there's messages. And I will find. Okay. You personal, is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, here we go. Copy or whatever this is. Boom. Just put it up there, Kurt. Kurt was just asking the same thing. Okay. And then so I'm broadcasting on so many different channels. That's why this thing blows up. Yes, sir. Anytime. Is when he says. Okay. That's what Ace told you.
Like I said earlier about my system, there's no secrets to it. I'm not one of those guys who, like I said, there's no secrets.
Love Guro Errol stands behind his teaching philosophy, just teaching what he was taught. There we go. You know, and you know, at the end of the day, the secret of all this stuff is the same. Just do it. Do your work. You know, if whatever you want. Listen, here's the nice thing about martial arts. You can apply it to anything. I mean, like, as far as if you want to do sport, you can take that material and do it for the sports scene. You just want to do it more for health, you can modify it to do more holistically. You want to talk about ripping someone's spine out like in Predator, you could do that as well. I mean, of course, you're going to need some claws and stuff like that. But I mean, you know, if you think about it, all martial arts were deadly at one time. You tell me karate isn't? I punch him in the belly. You punch him in the throat, same damn thing. It's just about target allocation. And I don't think any martial art, I think all the martial arts has all the potential for everything that we do. It's just they don't train the applications of the scenarios. Filipino martial arts, we're heavy, we're very weapon centric. And people misunderstand, think that we don't have any open hand combatives. And a lot of times it's because the people who represent FMA has learned it as a secondary or tertiary system and hasn't put the time in or hasn't left their primary system. So, great interview. This evening, guys. No, that's a good night for now. Thank you, Sachi.
Thank you, everybody.
And then Danny Terrell put in the time actually working the material.
100%.
Okay, so you don't have anything coming up. Renee, here we go. There's a bunch of words I'm writing to confuse Tim for no reason to make him read it 3 times. Microwaved. Did he just write microwaved? Of course he did. Okay. That's the problem. I am dyslexic, and then my eyes are jacked up. I think when I got bounced off the wall in a gym class. But yeah. So okay. Well, I was there anything else that we didn't cover that you'd want to share with us?
Oh no, not really. I mean, but here's one thing. Just remember, even with FMA, a lot of folks see the blades, the sticks, the strikes. We also have our grappling. We also have our dumog. So again, you know, but a lot of times when I see dumog nowadays, it looks so much like Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I have nothing against Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I'll tell you why. One, I'm a wrestler, okay? And a lot of my guys are also BJJ guys. I roll with them. I enjoy it. But from what I see when people are doing dumog, It looks like BJJ, and I get maybe that's their evolution, perhaps.
No, can I give you a rationale why? Because I did an interview on this, and one of the guys in the Philippines I was interviewing actually kind of admitted it. And what's happening over there, I can't speak for here, but what's happening over there in the Philippines is that it is now being used as an umbrella term to encompass anything grappling oriented. So BJJ is mixed in there. If you've got judo mixed in there, Roman Greco, whatever grappling discipline, they're throwing kind of an umbrella of Dumog. And this guy kind of admitted it to me because I'm saying like, hey, I'm seeing a bunch of different things, and he goes, oh yeah,
I see a lot of their guillotine chokes and everything.
Oh, it's totally
guillotine, but the way it was applied, I'm going, that's BJJ, my brother.
No, and I'm gonna guess maybe that's happening here a bit, but he fully admitted, like he was very open and fully admitted that, yeah.
No, because when I'm teaching, I say this is Dumog, what I'm showing you, and then I'll say this is wrestling, what I'm showing you.
Yeah.
This is BJJ, what I'm showing you. I'm going to incorporate it into what we're doing right now. But again, I'll be adamant what I'm teaching. I'm teaching you Dumog. I'm teaching you wrestling. I'm teaching you BJJ.
So I teach Filipino martial arts. A good chunk of what we do is from small circle jiu-jitsu from Wally J, which is a derivative of Danzanru Jiu-Jitsu. I'm open with my students when I'm teaching. Since I'm teaching a Filipino martial art, I will use Filipino terminology, but I'm very upfront with where our material comes from. And I go, even though we say Dumog, it's really Jiu-Jitsu. But I've watched people, masters / grandmasters, back in the 90s, teaching Dumog Buno, and it was classic mount guard pass reverse from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And too many people are drinking the Kool-Aid. And these are guys I like even, but at the end of the day, it's what's this Filipino? No, you're a Filipino.
You're a Filipino teaching BJJ.
Look at Manny Pacquiao is not a Filipino martial artist. He's a Filipino doing martial arts. Or maybe he's a Filipino martial artist, but he's not doing parantukan. He's doing boxing, Western boxing. Okay.
Again, like I said, there isn't anything wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong.
Just as long as
they're being honest.
Yeah,
they're saying,
honest.
Hey, it's an umbrella term.
Yeah.
Anything we do, we're throwing under here, and we tell the students,
And I do that in my school, and we're upfront with our organization.
I mean, I do a lot of stick grappling. I do a lot of stick boxing grappling, and they're going, oh, how come you do so much stick grappling? I said, I grapple.
Well, there you go.
I grapple, and I know how to use the weapons properly to grapple with that. And obviously, people are you shouldn't grapple with a stick. Listen,
sorry.
Listen, come to my class, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's get caught up before we wrap things up here. So Lyman, nice talk. He said goodnight to me, not you guys.
Apparently.
Is it my hair?
Yeah, I think it is. But you know what? Someone need to take Ty's spot, and you're filling in that role. Do you buff it like he did? No.
Look at that. Fresh cut.
I see. It's a choice. You're choosing to shave your head.
Just for you guys.
There we go. Good interview. Thanks for your time, gentlemen. Hope our paths cross sometime. We can share some playtime. Hopefully I'll see you in a couple of days in Florida if you're still around. No, it looks like bad BJJ. Well, it depends on the group we're talking about. Thanks from Ottawa, Canada. Good FMA discussion.
Good FMA
Through you.
discussion.
You,
D-Man. Thank you. Do we know D-Man's name?
He's the man.
I think it's Dean Franco.
Yeah,
probably.
He is the Dean.
Form follows function. Branding eventually gets us all. And then Steve, thank you for a great show. Always learn so much. And then when dead, getting more swords. Okay. All right. So here's what. Oh, here we go. And we do a GoFundMe. Yeah. Blah blah blah. Renee, hey gents, good show. We're also okay as well. Okay, you were also okay as well, Tim. Okay, great. Thanks. I was waiting for that one. I meant swords for Dean. Okay.
Thank you.
And thanks all. So listen, we're off next week. The week after, I've got Grandmaster Carlos. Patalinghug, if I'm not mistaken. He is the U.S. director for WECAF.
Carlos, I'm sorry. What was his last name? I'm sorry.
It's
I'm just kidding you. I'm just kidding you. I would do the same.
You're gonna have Grandmaster Errol Ballesteros next week.
Yeah, there we go. So I've got him coming on, and then the week after that, we've got John from Empty Mind Films. He did the documentary on Fighting Sticks of Our Niece. He followed my crew around, and basically, it was Tim's excellent journey in the Philippines, except I was kind of in the background. He just followed our trip, went around. I let him loose, and he did a phenomenal job. I liked probably the best produced documentary when we talk about video quality and stuff like that. It may not be everyone's cup of tea, but I really enjoyed it. Then I don't know where we're at, but that's what we got going on. So we're off next week. We got the U.S. director of WECAF the week after that, and then the week after that we got we've got Empty Mind Films stopping by. Now, I am working on a project, so it is this is I don't know if it's the third or the fourth, the Can-Am FMA Summit. Okay. And that theme, it's either going to be 24 or 25. I haven't decided yet because there's a bunch of things I'm hosting that might be an issue. It's about people who've learned the art in North America. So, we've talked about a whole bunch of times about education systems and delivery systems. So when we do that next one, I'll let you guys know about it because I wouldn't mind having Errol on along with us. And then unofficial comment. I've been I'm allowed to just tease it. I've been reached out by a group to start producing content for an online video company, which we will be talking about, supposed to release in this spring. There's other people who've been asked, some really top tier people, and Dean maybe. We're talking about that. But I can't talk about it now, but I just want to throw it out there. Some stuff is going to be coming down the pike. So listen, thanks, guys. Just stay on in the back for a minute here. I'm going to just take you off. And I'm going to take, okay, Dean, you can stay on because it's, you're taking the spot. You got to take the spot. So you got anything you're doing?
I just want to know how you gonna let Ty down easy. I mean, what do you?
Yeah, it's gonna have to be nice and easy. But he might be watching this now. I might not have to let him down at all. He may already know. So listen. And Dean's still doing FMA discussion. He's just pinch hitting for us, which is always cool. And the unofficial guest on the show. And he's that guy that you just never know when he's going to pop in. Had the Kelly Warden one. There he was. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, listen.
Hey.
What do you got going on? Do you have something coming up?
Yeah. Okay. I got that thing. It's kind of geared towards charity. That's Saturday.
Okay.
Then April 1st, I got to do the Piper Camp.
Okay.
And then.
Well, we're up in New Hampshire together.
So the fourth or third. Well, wait.
Third weekend, fourth weekend, yeah.
Yeah, because I think if I'm not mistaken, I think there might be 5 weekends in April.
Oh, I got to see about getting Terry Dow and the invasion on the show before then.
Well, here's the thing too. I was saying, I'm so glad you brought that up because I was going to bring you and Terry on.
Okay.
But we could do the invasion. We could do the invasion on your show, and then I could just bring you and Terry on.
Yeah, that'd be great. Cool.
Yeah, so, but
we always got to brainstorm.
Yeah, but I just think
really going to be jealous.
To hear Terry talk about his event again, and then I'll say we could segue the whole FMA invasion. And
yeah, sounds good. All right, well, listen, everybody, as always, please stay safe and stay sane. This is Datu Tim and
filling in for Ty, but might be permanent. We never know.
Dean Branco.
Jim Bronco.
We will see you all soon.
All right, hey.